On this episode, we review the all-new Disney Wish in part 1 of a 2-part series. Today is October 4th, 2022. This is episode 501 of the Main Street Magic Podcast.
Jeremy and Rhonda are more than a little fond of Disney World, so they made this podcast to share it all with you. Reports and resorts, top 10 lists of all sorts, Main Street Magic's bringing it home for you.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Main Street Magic. I am your host, Jeremy Stein, and as always, I'm joined by my lovely wife, Rhonda.
Hey guys!
Make sure you check us out on the web at mainstmagic.com, as well as follow on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at MainStMagic. If you've not done so already, head out to Facebook and search for the Main Street Magic community and ask to join. Then if you hit that subscribe button, you're going to get brand new episodes every Tuesday and Friday. We know that getting your dining reservations at both Disneyland and Walt Disney World can be overwhelming and at times just downright frustrating. But the good news is Mouse Dining removes the frustration of booking Disney dining reservations, alerting you when they spot availability for your desired restaurant, date, meal, and time. Visit msmfriends.com to use this free service. And then if you're getting ready to plan your next Disney or Universal vacation, looking to go on a cruise, or pretty much travel anywhere else in the world, head to mainstmagictravel.com and fill out a form for a free quote. Our travel services are completely free to you.
Hey, so of course we are going to talk about our first and ever Disney cruise.
Yeah.
The Wish, our inaugural, I guess, sailing, which they kept calling it inaugural, which I was pretty surprised at, but I was kind of excited because it was the first.
Well, they're calling it still the, and I don't know how many they do or for how long they do it for. They're calling it the inaugural season.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that will span, just because we're not cruise people, so we still have a lot to learn.
Yes.
I don't know if that spans the first, X number of cruises, the first year, the first 6 months, but it is cool because we'll get into merch later. All right. But
oh yeah.
So here's our plan. We are just fresh back from a Disney trip, actually. This was originally going to be DizCon weekend, which unfortunately was postponed, but we still had the after hours. We had Mickey's Not So Scary Friday night. Had a wonderful weekend. We're just getting back. I know it's a week removed. Like 1 week ago, we were at Castaway Cay.
Which is crazy.
That still seems weird to me because it seems like it was yesterday and forever.
It seems like forever.
Right? So we're going to kind of just walk through our first cruise. And then I'll be honest, from the beginning, we're not sure if this is going to be one episode or two because we do want to bring the girls in and we want to get their opinion, but we weren't going to have them sit down for the entire length of the episode. And then we've also got some of our cruise buddies are going to be recording little bits for us as well that we want to include. So we're just going to start and then we'll see if we cut this and then have part 2 or if we just use this all in one episode. So timing may be part of it, but let's start first, Rhonda, with leading up. And because, we booked this thing first day available.
Yes. And
right?
Lucy said it was over a year.
Yeah.
So we were looking, I think, at a little, like maybe 18 months, basically.
Wow.
Year and a half.
Has it been that long?
I think so. I think she said we booked it back in March of last year. So, I mean, we did go in September.
Yeah,
so
that is crazy. Yeah, and this was like our big countdown. We're very fortunate to go to Disney a lot, but we don't really count down all the Disney trips.
No, and ever since COVID and everything, I have been very nervous about this because we were still, even though we were all vaccinated, we were still supposed to give a negative test. And just with the girls in school and then with the supposedly like false positives and stuff, I was like, how are all of us going to be negative? Like I was very nervous with that, but
very stressful.
It was. But then all of a sudden, Disney decided that if you are vaccinated, then all you have to do is upload your vaccination card. You don't even have to be boosted. And then, but if you're not vaccinated, so according to what I understand now, you can go. Yeah,
they're dropping all that. They're dropping everything, basically.
You have to show a negative test.
Yeah, and that might have even changed by the time we last saw it. We were gone for 2 days. Who knows?
Because I know a lot of people are like concerned about that because they won't get vaccinated, which is completely understandable. So I actually had clients say, well, we won't go on one because and I was like, well, good news. They have dropped everything.
Well, and what was so crazy too is the testing. Literally the first day of sailing that they were dropping that was our first day of sailing,
which was amazing.
But talk a little bit about the Safe Passage portal leading up, because you took care of all of this with
I did
what you had to upload, what is required, what is kind of like we don't have passports,
no,
which we would not need for this trip. But how did all that work out?
It was
and
great.
that was another little bit of stress, though, waiting to get cleared, right?
That was a little weird. Yeah. So, and Steve told us actually that this is new to Disney, what they're trying to do, which is through this Safe Passage portal, is to online check in with the cruise. And with that, you not only had to check in, but then you had to upload your either passport or birth certificate and your ID, government issued ID.
So photo ID was required as well, correct?
Yep.
And this is for anyone under 18, I would assume.
Yes.
Obvious. I mean, under 18 is obviously over 18. Under 18 is not going to need
Right.
an ID of any sort.
And a selfie picture.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a lot. And then we get to the kids, and all we needed was, obviously, because they are 12 and 14, is their birth certificate. So then we were only allowed, with everything coming out, we were only allowed to do 14 days prior to sailing our vaccine cards.
Mm-hmm.
So I checked in online. We did all that, like, I felt like a month or so ago. And then we uploaded everything. And then 14 days prior, we uploaded our vaccines. Well, it was super funny because everybody was, we were in this group text with all our friends with the Wish. And all these people were getting cleared and we weren't, we all were except Jeremy.
Yeah, it was not clear. They did not care for my selfie.
Apparently not. And I'm the one who did all this. Like, I was like, oh, this is a good one. And I read everything where you're not supposed to have a hat on. You're not supposed to do this. You're supposed to do this, blah, 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 blah. So
I shouldn't have been wearing the sunglasses with the fake mustache. I think that's why I got denied.
Okay, that's not true. But we took another one of him, and praise God, it was very quick. The next day or so, I think he was cleared. So we were all cleared. It was amazing because of all that. When we go to check in, I mean, they pulled everything up on their little iPad, saw us. We had to show that we had the documents with us, but that was it.
Yeah.
And it was just quick and
really super easy process,
super
honestly.
easy.
And I just think it's so cool looking at everything through the app and being able to do it all through that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, dare I say the Disney Cruise Line Navigator app works a lot better than my Disney experience, I think, in many ways.
Yeah.
So packing, right? We pack often. We pack often to go to Disney. But being able to drive, it's very different because what we usually do is like, we'll have our suitcase. We usually have a bag with like snacks and drinks. We have our certain items. We have my bag, your Loungefly. But in the end, you're like, oh, did you grab that extra charger? No? Quick, just throw it in this bag.
Right.
Did you and we can throw whatever we want in the trunk.
Right.
Even sometimes we pack stuff that we never even take out of the trunk, but we're like, we have it.
Right.
This was very different.
Well, this was basically like we were going to go fly on a plane.
Yeah, exactly.
So
down to the baggage.
It was literally, you're allowed 2 bags each, and they gave us all the luggage stuff, which was super cool.
Yeah, the tags.
And then
carry on in a personal item, right?
Yes.
Just like an airline.
Yes.
And a listener did reach out and made 100% sense when I was talking about the 50-pound bags, and that, well, if it's 75 pounds and I take 25 pounds out, I'm still giving you 75 pounds. She said she believes it's all for the people working who have to carry those things so that they're not pulling their back out and injuring themselves.
Oh, that makes sense.
It makes 100% sense. And honestly, I never even thought of it.
Yep.
So it does make sense.
Yep.
What did you think, though, about packing and how was it different? And like, we joke too a lot of times where we're like, we'll be pulling out almost every time. We're pulling out to go to Disney and you'll say, did we forget anything?
Yep.
And our joke is always, if we did, we'll just buy it.
Yep.
Not that this isn't true as well.
Right.
But it didn't feel like, I felt like we had to condense things so much. It was hard. And then to the end where we were packing and I was like, well, what if I need jeans one night? Let me throw jeans in. And then I was like, what if I want to wear a suit one night? And Steve's like, I'm going to pack a suit. And I was like, well, then I'll throw a suit in. Like, we didn't know what to expect. So I'm just like, let's pack all of it.
Yeah.
To the point that I think we mentioned last episode, that suitcase was, 57, 58 pounds.
Yeah, and you took some out.
And I took about 10 or 15 pounds out and put it into a separate duffel.
We bought some stuff too.
Yeah, we sure did.
But yeah, I mean, I think we obviously way overdid it because for the 3-night cruise. But it was super fun, super fine. You had your carry-on. I had this giant, I feel like the Halloween tote
Mm-hmm.
and had everything in there from shoes to ears to, and when you carry your liquor on, we had a 6-pack of beer. And I say liquor, your alcohol, sorry, not liquor.
Yeah,
you can't do liquor.
You're allowed a 6-pack
Alcohol.
of beer per
person, I
person,
believe.
or up to 2 bottles of wine or champagne. You could not bring both. So yeah,
Well,
what it
you
would be.
brought-
I brought.
a
Yeah, you
6-pack of
brought a
beer.
6-pack of beer. I brought 2 bottles of champagne. On.
Right.
That was our limit.
And then we had a little case of water.
Yeah, and you can bring a case of water on, but you have to carry that on. You also have to carry any alcohol on. You cannot put it in your checked bag.
Right. So I had the beer in my bag, carried the water, and Jeremy had the 2 bottles in his bag.
Yeah.
And going through security, I mean, I think I expected more, like them to say something.
I did too. I
don't
thought
know.
it was going to be a lot
But
more
It
difficult.
was I even asked, like, do I need to take my beer out of here?
Yeah.
I don't know. And they were like, no. And then it was funny because I had my water bottle, and the woman before we went in, she was like, that has to be emptied. And I was like, okay. And so I emptied it. And then the security's like, is there anything in there? And I'm like, no. I was like, do you need me to open it and show you? Just because I didn't know what, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just was
I couldn't believe how
surprised.
easy this process was. I mean, from the moment we walked in, had our documentation checked, went through security, all that was like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And definitely recommend getting there early, which was wonderful idea of Rhonda's. But so before we get to that, one of the things, we've talked before about if you're doing a split stay at Disney and you're having Disney transfer your luggage, we always say have a bag with you with anything you might need, whether it's medication, whether it's a change of clothing, a bathing suit. Do the same thing here. Because they're going to, when you get on, and we were boarding by about 1 or so.
They said our room would be ready at 2.
Yep. But luggage would not be there till 4.
Yes.
Now, we packed bathing suits and stuff, and we told the kids to wear them. We didn't go in the pool, but it was nice to know, like, all right, we have what we need if we need it, because we're not getting it until 4:00.
Right.
So definitely something. What are 2 other things you would recommend packing or purchasing ahead of time for your door, your magnetic door?
So,
and I've always heard of this, and I
it's
get
super,
it now. I love it.
It's super cool, and it's not only the door's magnetic, as Jeremy found out. Like the entire
room
is magnetic. It's crazy.
We'll talk about the door, what you got, and what the dry erase and all that good stuff.
Well, it's super funny because now we can talk all about it because Jeremy. So you can also go on to the app and pre-purchase things that are set up in your room.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted the cruise line like stuff. You get 2 pillowcases, you get a large pool towel, you had a couple of banners. Well, there was a Celebrate one, and Jeremy's birthday was just the week prior, and this was basically going to be like his birthday, so I got that package. So we still got 2 pillowcases that says it's my day, and it says the wish, and it has a birthday cake and Minnie and Mickey on it, and then banners that said happy birthday and celebrate. And then there was one extra.
You didn't see, actually, because the door's not closed right now in the office. I hung the big the scroll banner, I'll call it. I hung it on the back of the door.
Oh
yes, I love it.
Well, there was one extra thing which is super cute, and it is Pluto like stretched out that says it's my day.
Yeah.
And it's like, I guess what they consider a scarf.
Yeah.
He is super cute. I told both the girls because I feel like this was going to be more for Jeremy. If I would have gotten the other thing, then I would have not told the girls and let them just kind of come in. But they were super happy and wanted me to video their dad's reaction.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was great. So with that came a dry erase board as well. But I got off of Etsy before we left, which was a Stitch captain's hat that he looks like he's like peeking around the door, and then a giant life preserver.
Yeah.
That said the wish, and then I put Main Street Magic name on it instead of our family Stein name. So it was super fun. And then Lucy and Caleb got this big dry erase board, which I'm a little sad that maybe we didn't get one because I was the only one to use theirs. I used it so much.
Well, and here's the thing we'll say. First of all, the magnets are super fun. And this is one of those things where like, people decorate their windows and stuff at Disney World and all. Same thing. I mean, we saw some of the most elaborate, that one around the corner with the Haunted Mansion.
Oh, yeah.
Like we saw some of the most elaborate decorations on their door, which was super cool. The dry erase board, if you're wondering, not only is it neat because like people might leave you messages that you don't know. Somebody might just say like, hey, whatever. They can become in handy because if you are not purchasing internet on board, you're not going to have messaging. You're going to require the Navigator app to message the other people that you have to add that are in your group. It is not very reliant.
Yeah, it was a little
I was able to
frustrating.
iMessage for the first 24 hours on Wi-Fi, like people back home, I'll say. And then it just stopped. Mine would not work anymore once we got out
didn't
far
either,
enough.
but mine did, and Lacey, I think, did.
Yeah.
We kept, but I made sure our phones were also turned on airplane mode.
Yes.
And all roaming turned off.
Yes.
Because we've had a couple of our friends, unfortunately, Amy and Chuck, I believe their son racked up
some charges.
$400. And I'm like, if my bill, which my bill did just come through, by the way.
All good?
And it's all good.
Nice.
But seriously, I was very nervous on that. So that was the only, I guess, real big downfall of the cruise because it was just hard to kind of communicate.
It was hard to communicate, but that's the whole thing where then Rhonda would go next door and we were like, all right, we're not sure if the Navigator app messaging is working. So she went next door to Lucy and Caleb's and was basically like, I don't
I wrote a book at one point.
Yeah, you did, really. But, you could go there and say, trivia at Keg and Compass at 5 p.m. Hope to see you there. Yeah. Just say. So it or, heading to breakfast.
Yep.
It's 8 a.m. heading to breakfast, something like that. So definitely comes in handy for that. So one of the other things that we packed, and we always do this in Disney World, is we packed our refillable mugs.
Yes.
So we knew we could use them for water, sodas, whatever we wanted at refillable stations, which, by the way, are few and far between. It's the only thing is I wish there was a more centered area to easily refill, especially with like ice water throughout the ship on every single deck.
Yeah.
And they're just
just more like, I mean, we were on the 7th and had to go to the 11th or 12th. I don't really remember which one it was.
Deck,
yeah.
Just to even get water, basically.
Right. And for the kids too, to get sodas and whatever. And these cups, the reason we take our refillable mugs is because these cups are just your little like Disney water cups that they hand out in Disney World. Yeah. So, or if you get a kid's cup, I think it's considered,
it's
right?
100% a kid's cup. Yeah. So we arrived. We got there super early. Parking for this was going to be $68 for the 3 nights. So again, it's funny because we try to talk to the girls sometimes about like what things cost and what you plan for, and that was one of them where we said, girls, if you're ever going on a trip and you've budgeted a certain amount, these are the types of things you need to think of. You don't want to show up and all of a sudden be like, ooh, I'm about to be out another $70. I set aside $70 to buy some merchandise. Well, now that's gone.
Right.
So like one of those things to plan for. As we said, we got parked, we got checked in. We hung out in the terminal, waited for all our friends to show up. And then they started calling the different boarding groups. We got on about 1 o'clock or so.
And then we could just go eat, which was
what about the entrance coming into the original atrium? I knew Disney. I knew Disney Cruise Lines did this.
I did too.
When you arrive, but it was so cool to finally experience.
It really was. Yeah, and it was Zach of all the people.
Yes.
We walked up and he's like, "What's your family's name?" And I looked at Jeremy and I'm like, "Do I say Stein?" And Jeremy's like, "Yes." And I was like, "I didn't know if I say Main Street Magic." So anyways, it was super cool because I was like Stein and he was like Stein and he's like, "The Disney Wish welcomes the Stein family." And Lucy and Caleb were already on there and they were videoing, and oh my God, I just about started to cry.
Yeah.
And then Rapunzel and Flynn were upstairs over this balcony and looking all around, and my kids loving it. Oh my God. Yeah. I'm trying not to tear up right now, but it was amazing.
It's so cool. We used to talk about it a lot, and I feel like we've gotten away from it some. We need to get back to it, or Disney first. And we used to always go to Disney World and we'd be like, this is our Disney first. And I remember one time, our Disney first, that trip was Kaylin and I rode front row of Rock and Roller Coaster, and we never had before.
Right.
Talk about the first time we went into Pandora and we're seeing something Disney for the first time ever. Toy Story Land and, recently Cosmic Rewind, things like that. To walk into this brand new ship and experience something we had never, ever done was so cool. And
Mm-hmm.
having the girls was so incredible.
It was.
Like we just got back from this trip. The girls stayed home, of course. And like we missed them. Like we really, really are starting to miss them because it's been almost a year now since they've gone. It was January, this past January. So we're about 10 months. And we're really starting to miss them being with us at Disney World. And the fact that they were on this cruise and we all got to like I just wanted to see their faces, but then I'm like, but I want to see Rhonda's face. And then you're probably like, I want to see everybody's face.
Yeah.
It's just, it was incredible and decked out with that big Halloween pumpkin tree.
Oh, yeah.
And just starting to snap photos and seeing all these people gather and enter was just, it was so cool. And this ship is gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely stunning. You know, other people can make comparisons. I know there's a lot of people that I feel like from what I've read either love or hate this ship.
Yeah.
I think a lot of more longtime cruisers on Disney do not love the Wish. For us, we thought it was absolutely beautiful. And, you know, we can talk about the possibility of another cruise later in the episode. It's going to happen. But I think I'm glad we did this one first based on what some other people think.
Yeah.
So everybody boarded because, of course, it was us, Lucy, Caleb. We had Rachel, Chris. We had Steve, his friend Kim. And then we all headed to what I think would be my favorite place on the ship. And what was that?
That was Tiana's Bayou.
Yes.
And this is a bar and a place where you can sit kind of right behind this main stage.
Yeah, right next to the atrium and all.
Yep. And it was super cool. It's beautiful in there. We all got a drink. It was super funny because Lucy's done this before. So I was like, I'm like standing next to her. I'm like, how do I do this? What do I do? And then because we didn't have our key to the world yet, they would be hanging literally on our doors, which I thought was kind of funny. And I'm like, wow, I guess like, because what happens if
very trustworthy people?
Yeah, because what happens
cruise?
if I just went to like a suite and grabbed that one before?
Right.
I'm
like
just kidding.
funnel suite? Yes, we are the Johnson family.
Yep. No, but it was super funny because I just watched Lucy and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do the same thing. And we all got drinks and hung out, and even the kids got a non-alcoholic fun float type of drink, and they love that. And then we just kind of hung out and waited for everybody. And then we went to Marceline Market for lunch, which I do believe is the 11th or 12th.
I think it was the 11th.
One of those.
And pool was 12.
It's one of those things where I went to it and then I'd walk upstairs. So I think it was the 11th.
Yeah.
And then, the pool deck, I think, was 12.
What did you think of Marceline Market and the offerings here for our lunch?
This
is all, buffet style,
Yes.
several sections.
Sections.
What were some standouts? Because you had a couple of things that I did not get. Because I went straight for the seafood section, basically.
I just heard to say, how fun was that?
Stone crab claws, steamed mussels, steamed shrimp. They were all outstanding. One of the other days, I actually broke off from everyone, or I think I was coming to meet you guys. Like I'd been in the room, and I was like, I got to stop by Marceline Market because I'm getting a plate full of stone crab claws.
Yep.
And they were amazing.
And you had mussels and
the steamed shrimp was outstanding. And when you're talking all you can eat, if you can get stone crab claws, mussels, and steamed shrimp, and it's all you can eat, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, there was charcuterie.
Yep, they had little pre-made charcuterie boards, right?
Yes, the kids loved their stuff because they had a kids section, but they could get whatever they wanted too, which was super cool.
They got chicken. I know Lacey got chicken tenders. She got fries, and I'd heard cruise line tenders are like the best, and I can agree with that because I tried the cruise line tenders that Lacey got, and they were absolutely amazing. Not only that night, but the one night when you got it for room service when I got back late.
That was super fun too because I didn't know that you could just get room service.
Yeah, room service 24/7 is included, which is unbelievable to me. Of course, you're gonna tip your server basically at the end of it. I thought all the offerings for lunch were so good. I mean, all these different stations that you could go to because I thought you got Did you get you didn't get a sandwich or something, did you? Didn't you get like
I'm really actually
pork
trying
or something?
to look.
Rhonda's trying to look at the photos.
Because lamb.
That's what you got
what
was
it
lamb.
Was.
Yeah.
I'm like, what was it that I got? Because they had some mashed potatoes too. And I mean, it was so funny because I was like, all right, there is no diet on this ship. I'm going to eat whatever I want. I actually did not take a picture of mine, but and then, of course, they had tons of desserts, so we got those. But I do remember I did get the lamb, and I mean there were so many offerings.
I know.
Like, and I did go get the shrimp, and I got some crab
Yeah.
too. But I do believe the main thing that I ate was I wanted that meat, which was and it was a little small rack of lamb.
Yeah.
Or like a, whatever it's called, that little bone in. Because the one time by myself, I got lamb and it really wasn't that good.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Cause he carved it off. So it was like,
yeah.
so it was different.
Yeah. Another thing that I thought was interesting and cool and necessary, I guess, is that every time you basically go to enter this quick service, the restaurants, there are hand washing stations.
Yes.
As you come in.
And if it's another restaurant, sometimes they would be just handing out wipes to wipe your hands before you came in.
Which was pretty cool.
That was awesome.
So we really, really enjoyed lunch. We all gathered, sat, had wonderful meal for lunch. And then we headed up to check out after that, we went to Joyful Sweets right around the corner.
Yes.
Talk
that
about
was
Joyful
super cool.
Sweets.
Because, well, I mean, we already, first of all, had sweets.
Yeah.
But then we went to Joyful Sweets because the kids wanted to. And they got some... So I think it was the sorbet, mango sorbet, and with all kinds of toppings. And then
and you've got joy and sadness and anger and all these awesome statuettes, and it's wonderful, and they're like beautifully designed and just this is gonna sound dumb. All right, picture the movie Inside Out and the core memories and like kind of where they their headquarters is, and put that into a sweet shop.
It was cool.
Boom, they did it. It was perfect.
It was.
I loved it.
Lucy got cupcake, I think, lemon, because she loves the lemon stuff. And that was super fun. And then after that,
we headed up to check out the pool deck area.
Did we?
Yeah. And
because I know
what do you think of the whole pool area? This this basically top deck.
It's neat. There's big giant screens so you can watch movies and stuff. It's neat. The pools are different. Because they're like
small.
There's 4 like little things.
Yeah.
I don't even know if you call them full pools, because 2 of them are pools, but then the water fell down from the pools up above, and then it was a real shallow, but just to kind of get wet. And
yeah.
I don't know.
I really liked the whole pool deck area.
Yeah.
I was unimpressed with the actual pools. And then I'll just skip ahead. The Aqua Mouse, I ended up riding the last night. I made it specific. I made it very specific to go check it out because we had not. And it was cool. But for me, again, I really liked the area, but overall it was underwhelming as far as like actual pools and the water slide and all go, I think.
Okay.
One thing I did think was absolutely incredible here, which I'm going to now claim as the best deal I've ever gotten related to Disney. And, of course, you can bring the case of water on, but we go up there and they have this cooler bag. Mm-hmm. First day only, it actually said Disney Wish.
Right. We didn't realize
it until later. Steve told us when we were leaving. Yeah. Later, it just said Disney Cruise Line after day one.
No, it didn't even say anything. It just had the cruise line
logo.
Okay.
So ours actually said Disney Wish. It's this awesome little cooler bag, over-the-shoulder cooler bag. It'll hold a decent amount and all. So the cooler bag itself is $18, right? Which I think is an absolute steal, first of all.
Yeah.
Single waters are $2.75.
And these are Dasani waters.
Which is really good price when those are $4.50 in the parks. Mm-hmm. Or you could go ahead and get the cooler bag with 6 waters in it for $26.25. Mm-hmm. I thought that was such a great deal. So we did
and they're the large Dasani waters. It wasn't like our little baby waters
the 20
that
ounces.
We have.
Yeah.
And I just knew that with the kids and with us, we were going to drink more water than what I brought because this was our first time. So I didn't know. So I brought a little tiny 12-pack of little waters. Next time I might go a little bit bigger. I don't know. But it was nice that I could go ahead and buy this cooler bag with all these waters in it too.
And as we said, the stations to actually refill your cups with water are few and far between, so you definitely want to have water in your rooms, water to bring around with you, cooler bag to take on to Castaway Key the day that you do that. So from here we gathered back in the atrium and they had kind of the opening show, right?
Okay.
So we checked that out, and then it was time to go to our room. This was 2 p.m. at that point, and we got to go to our stateroom.
Yes.
We were on deck 7.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you think of the rooms? This is our first ever Disney cruise.
It was
room.
neat. I mean, what did you think? Because I was trying to video you because you were going to go in first because of the decorations and everything.
I absolutely loved the room.
Yeah, I thought
absolutely loved it.
I loved the veranda that we had.
Yep.
I thought it was awesome. I loved everything. We actually opened and connected and could share Chris and Rachel's room.
Yep.
So that was awesome. Yeah, it was.
I thought it was
really
super
cool.
spacious.
Yeah.
Plenty of room. We had 2 sinks. Like I
Right,
loved
'cause you
the way
have
the
a
bathroom
toilet
area
room.
was. Yep.
Which had a sink and a toilet, and then you had your shower room that had a shower and a sink.
Yeah.
So.
Super duper spacious. We had a queen bed. We have a couch that will fold out into a single sleeper, and then the drop down bed that basically turns these into bunks.
Super cool.
That for every night, and so that's what the girls slept on. Giant TV, plenty of space, and we actually unpacked.
Yeah, we did.
Which was nice. Plenty of stuff to hang things up. Again, the veranda was wonderful. I was super shocked with how big this room felt, because I think if I remember looking it up, it's about 30 or so square feet smaller than a value resort room, like an All-Star.
Mm-hmm.
And it definitely feels tight, but it feels spacious at the same time. And
I think for a cruise.
For a cruise, yes. And let's be honest, you're not going to spend a ton of time in your room.
Correct.
Right?
Hopefully
Veranda
not.
was nice and big. We, table and chairs out there. As Rhonda mentioned earlier, everything is magnetic. The walls, the ceiling, everything. So what I would recommend and I would do for next time is bring, maybe pack like magnetic hooks or, something just to, hang your clothes on at night or something, or hang your pajamas on when you're gone for the day. I could totally see doing like a magnetic towel bar or something, that you could hang something on, whatever. So take advantage of that, even from the ceiling. You're talking about the banner, the Celebrate banner that you got with my birthday package. It was literally magnets that stuck to the ceiling, and then the banner connected to those.
Yeah. So
I loved that. A spacious fridge area. Spacious enough to fit things in there. We had the champagne and the waters and all stacked in there. So I really, really loved that.
So yeah, like Jeremy said earlier, we unpacked and we got everything like ready, and then we're like, all right. And I think we were, this time, we're supposed to be pulling out of the main place and get on the waters.
Yeah.
So we all went up to the top deck and met up there, and it started first of all, because you're on the top and you can kind of do a 360 and see all the way around, you could see the rain and you could see the stuff. And it just kind of moved right into us and started that was the crazy part. No thunder,
just heavy rain.
We're like a lot of rain where I'm like, I can't even see very far. So I think they kind of delayed us a little bit, which I'm like, they'll make that up on the water.
Oh yeah.
But we did not sail away at our normal time because it was storming. And then I think, let's see, after it started storming and we...
I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this right now because people are probably like, what do you guys do? Like, where do you remember this trip? I usually do a lot of notes during a trip, right? And I take very detailed notes, and because things can be a blur. One thing I'm going to say, 3 nights is not enough. The trip is going to go by very fast. You're going to do a lot of things. You're going to eat a lot of things. You're going to see a lot of things. It is going to all blur together. Not having internet package, I told myself that I'm going to enjoy that. I'm going to, air quote, take off, like from doing all these things. So I really did not take notes. I did not document. I just tried to enjoy the trip as much as I could. And then we get back and I'm like, all right, we got to do notes for the episode. And I'm like, oh man, I got to go through photos just to relive.
Yeah.
And remember the order that we did things and what happened. And that's why I think a lot of this stuff is blurring together.
Well, and that's where literally I'm looking at the photos.
Right now.
Okay, wait a minute. That's right.
We did this. Then
we went
did this.
to hyperspace.
Yes, we did.
Because they were not taking reservations anymore, and we could just go in. So after it was kind of storming water and raining so much, we were like, all right, well, let's go ahead and move on. What should we do? So that's when we're like, well, let's just go ahead and just in case get hyperspace out of the way.
Yeah.
Because we figured other people are probably unpacking and doing the same thing we were doing and trying to get settled, or they're up on the deck and just still wanting to watch.
To do it.
Right. So we ended up going to hyperspace, and it was super fun because I got a water, and it is a blue sparkly water.
Yeah.
Like it was super fun. And then you can order other things as well, and you order from this iPad.
Yeah.
And what was one of our friends that asked Chuck asked the question, how is hyperspace and how did you say it?
To me, this is like Space 220 in Oga's Cantina had a baby, and the little baby was a bar, and it was called Hyperspace Lounge, and it's on the Disney Wish. Only seats 45 people. It is super small, but it is everything you expect from the moment you walk in the hallway with the big LED lit sign saying Hyperspace Lounge to the door that opens up.
Oh, yeah. The what door?
To the seating, to the back screen that looks like you're out in space. Like, I absolutely loved this area. I regret we didn't go back and try and enjoy it again.
Yeah, because even the kids wanted to, and I was like, the kids can go in before 9 p.m. After 9 p.m., kids are not allowed. So, we ended up, and I got this drink that was super fun. So when the guy's pouring it, it was like a martini. Mm-hmm. And when he's pouring it, the top is an actual Millennium Falcon.
Oh, yeah. The strainer?
The strainer.
Yeah.
Super
that's
cool.
Cool. I don't think I realized that.
And then he puts, I don't even know how he did this. He puts this like bubble on top of my drink, and it pops, and it looks like
smoke comes out.
Yeah, it looks like dry ice.
Yeah,
it was super stinking cool.
Yeah, it was really cool,
and it was beautiful, and it was fun.
Yeah,
and I just that was super super fun. And then I think we came right out of there and went back to the Bayou to get some beignets.
How are the beignets?
The beignets were really good. I mean, they're just not shaped Mickey, but they were fantastic. Yeah. Loved them.
Yeah.
Loved them.
To me, these don't have the density of the actual New Orleans beignets, but they have more of that light fluffiness, the way that the Mickey beignets do at Port Orleans and Riverside and all in French Quarter. So they had that same flavor, but they were the actual like squares. They just weren't Mickey shaped, which I think is really surprising. That'd have been pretty cool if they were Mickey shaped, but I guess they're trying to be more, legitimate to the Bayou and Tiana and all, right?
Right. Yep. So we are actually around we're obviously out and now in the waters and, getting closer to our dinner time, which our dinner time was 8:15.
Mm-hmm. We had second seating.
Lacey took some Bonine, which is a less drowsy Dramamine, like a medicine, before she got on the boat. Actually, I think she might have taken it that morning for even the car ride. She said, just in case. And I'm like, yeah, it's not going to hurt you for you to take it. So, and I don't know if I mentioned this prior, but everybody knows that I have to wear a patch because I get motion sickness. Well, I put my patch on that morning. It will last 72 hours. So I knew it'd be done on Monday morning and we would already be pulled into port. So literally I was like, you know what? I have extras. Lacey now is of age that I can use this. And I also discussed with my nurse girlfriend. So I brought 3 extra patches just in case. Well, that night, getting closer to dinner, Lacey wasn't feeling good. Kaylin felt weird, so she went ahead and took Bonine. I put a patch on every single person in my family. Yeah, Jeremy was including Jeremy. He kind of was like, I'm going to be fine. Well, I could feel, and sometimes people looked a little drunk because the way the boat would rock.
Well, that's what I kept saying is that I didn't feel it as much just say sitting there or whatever. And this was only that first night really.
Yeah, but, I agree.
But I remember I was walking down the hallway and all of a sudden I stumbled and I was like, why did I just stumble?
Yeah.
And I realized it was because the boat had moved and I had lost a little bit of my footing. But I wasn't like walking like, oh my gosh, I'm rocking. It was all of a sudden like you were just like, when you're sleeping and you in a dream you miss a stair.
Yeah.
And your leg does that kick thing.
Yeah.
It was like doing that, but you were awake and conscious of what was going on, but you weren't sure why your leg just did that.
Yeah.
That's how I would describe it that first night.
Well, and it was funny because when I did put one on, Jeremy kept saying, I don't think I need one. Well, I don't think he remembers when we went on the one out of Jacksonville.
Yeah.
And that night I didn't feel good. And I was like, oh my gosh. And he's like, oh, it's fine. But the next day at breakfast, he started turning a little green. And then he took Bonine. I probably could have not put the patch on him and had him have you take Bonine the whole time. But I was like, it's just easier. You put it on and you forget it. Well, I think we kind of overdosed Kaylin a little bit. I don't think I realized she took Bonine like right before I put the patch on.
Yeah.
So then both medications just, praise God, it didn't hurt her. It just made her sleep.
Yeah.
She did go to dinner with us. She was like barely there because now she's not feeling good at this point.
I think I have a photo of her sleeping at dinner.
Yeah.
Actually, with her head down on the table somewhere.
And then, I know. And then the next day she couldn't, which was Saturday, she could not get up till like mid-afternoon.
Yeah.
Like 12:30, I think, maybe. And then finally get up and do stuff, which I was frustrated with her. But then Lacey, her sweet sister, stood up for her and was like, Mom, it is not her fault. It is the medicine. And I really kind of realized, and I was like, oh my gosh. So I totally apologized to her. And this is where I call, this was a learning cruise for us. Yeah. Super happy we only did 3 nights because we did learn all these things that on the next one, it'll be
so prepared
prepared. It'll be easier. It'll be great.
Yeah.
So,
and I'll say, so before we go on to the next thing and dinner at World of Marvel and all is, with the patch, Rhonda said in the back to give her kind of blurry vision and all. I was good. I had no side effects, nothing the whole cruise. Breakfast Monday morning before we got off the ship, you were like, hey, you can take your patch off. I'm like, okay. So I take it off. I'm good. Drive 2 hours home. I walk into our house and my vision starts to blur and all of the lights in the house looked bright pink. And all of a sudden I was like, what's wrong with me? And then I was like, I'm afraid to say something, but at the same time, I think something might be wrong. And then I think I mentioned it to Lacey and she's like, yeah, that's the patch. I'm just getting the same thing. And I'm like, oh, thank God.
Well,
about 15 minutes later, I was cool. Everything was back to normal. No blurred vision,
great.
No weird lights, nothing. It was so odd though.
It lasts for a couple of days for me. And it's super funny because I have readers, obviously. And Lacey kept borrowing them because her, her vision was blurring. So it was kind of funny.
Yeah, she put your little readers on at dinner to read the menu and all. All right, let's talk about our first. And, you have these dining rotations between the 3 major restaurants that are included, which is World of Marvel, Arendelle, and then 1923.
Right.
So our rotation was going to be that exact order. World of Marvel, second night Arendelle, third night was going to be 1923. We had already booked with Lucy and Caleb Palo for the final night at 5:30.
Because we were going to try to make it to 1923 and sit with our friends and have dinner, even if we really wouldn't eat.
Yeah, even if we just snacked or something.
Right.
And we'll get to that in a little bit. So first night is World of Marvel, which I will say I was the absolutely most excited for. I don't know if that's why it ended up being a huge letdown. I don't know if I was too excited for it, but I think the gathered response from our crew,
yes, it was.
The 10 of us, was that this was a huge disappointment. Overall.
So luckily it was our first.
I'm so glad we had it the first night.
Because, spoiler alert, the rest were great. So I didn't hate it. I had the gnocchi.
And I would 100% not say hate. I'm not going to use the word hate.
Right.
The theming was incredible. Everything about it was everything I love. It was one of those, to me, it just missed the mark. Like the show.
I just started to say, you said Ant-Man and Wasp didn't come out until like
the very end. And they basically just walked through.
Right.
The rest of the show was all on screens. And when the main show portion started was the moment that they came to take our order. So we're trying to give our order for the whole meal. because you're going to basically, you can give your app, your
Yep.
entree, your dessert, your everything you want if you want.
Right.
And so we're kind of missing it. Ant-Man, and I'm telling you, I'm shocked by this. Everybody keeps telling me, like, I don't know why you're that surprised. Ant-Man made reference to the fact that people were questioning why he did not shrink down, go up inside of Thanos, and then expand and destroy him from the inside out. Like, I can't believe they referenced that in this show. And that part made me super happy.
Part?
That was my favorite part. We did pork belly, there was shrimp.
There was a lot that we all did.
Yeah.
Because
and
of
it's
course,
so hard to keep track of the food. I'm going to tell you right
there
now.
Was and because there was 10 of us, we tried to get almost the whole menu between the 10 of us.
Yeah.
They bring out bread, which was super
The bread
good,
was
of
actually
course.
really, really
Yeah,
good.
the kids loved it.
And the coolest metal plate that has ever existed with an Avengers logo right into it. It is
awesome. And the forks and the
yes,
like all the silverware has
all Avenger
the A.
branded.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, it's super cool.
And then I'll never forget, the next morning I'm going through my book bag and I took out 3 or 4 dinner rolls.
Oh, because I tried to bring them to
yes.
Kaylin because poor
Because
Kaylin
wanted them. I know.
she did.
Yeah.
Poor thing.
It was funny though.
Yeah. So there is a lot of stuff for your apps. You get to pick between a dill, Meyer lemon, marinated shrimp. You get to bao bun, hearts of palm with cilantro and lime, and a sauteed with oyster mushrooms. Cremini?
Yeah, cremini mushrooms. That was the pork belly, wasn't it?
That's what I got.
Yes.
Because I love the mushrooms.
Yeah.
The mushrooms were great, very earthy, very good. But I think we got everything else as well between the 10 of us.
Yeah.
And then you have Wakandan salads, which is heirloom tomato salad or an iceberg wedge. And then you have from the kettle, which are soups, a white cheddar and broccolini soup, and then a carton fly. I can't read that word.
Yeah, that was the cardal. I can't say it either. Cardal fellow soup. I don't know. It's cream potato soup, carrots, celery, knotwurst, and thyme. You got that, and I don't think you loved it. Here was the thing. Here's what I'm gonna say overall is that to me the food wasn't bad. It wasn't good.
Mm-hmm.
I think my biggest disappointment with everything that we had at World of Marvel was it was missing certain flavor. I do not believe that anything was seasoned the way that it should have been seasoned.
Right.
If that makes sense. Like, I think some of these dishes could have been better with a little bit of salt, or something like that. And in reality, it didn't hit. And like we said, the show was just kind of disappointing a little bit.
Right. Well, with the bread, they brought the red bell pepper dipping sauce.
Yes, that was good. I enjoyed that.
It was different.
Yeah.
But it was good.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so, in your vegetarian, they had the ricotta gnocchi, which is what I got. And it wasn't awful, but I think like Jeremy said, it's lacking actual flavors.
Yeah, just overall flavor, like pops of flavor.
Maybe if I'd have put salt and pepper on it, it would have been better.
Maybe. What I love about Disney dining on the cruises is that you have the same servers for every single meal.
Yes.
They follow you around for dinner. And we had some of the best. We had Pradeep and then Ifrin, I believe it was pronounced.
Mm-hmm.
And then was like our secondary server. And then over all of them was Evo. And they were outstanding. And I can't remember exactly what it was night 1 that I had mentioned I did not like. But night 2, he made specific word to me that, don't worry, I'll take off the so-and-so. I can't remember what it was. It wasn't pickles, but it was something that I had mentioned the first night that I didn't like. And he made note of that. And that's what I've heard. They'll know that, they'll start to know, all right, you have dietary needs. Okay, well, here's what we're going to learn about you. We're going to know that you can't have these things and we'll make recommendations. You don't like pickles or mustard or whatever it may be. They're going to take note of that and they're going to give you recommendations or let you know if something contains that. So I just think that's super duper cool.
Yeah, it was. And like I said, we all ate and it was okay. Like it wasn't awful, but it wasn't like, oh, this is amazing. Then they have a dessert where the dessert menu comes out and there's 6 different desserts and we got every single one. I think Rachel really liked the key lime pie.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
There was some other things that they tried, but I think the 2 hits were the key lime pie and then Pim's donut sundae. It is a
Dulce leche.
Thank you. Ice cream, which is I just started to say caramel.
Yeah.
A pecan brownie, caramel fudge sauce, chocolate glazed mini donut, and whipped cream. And holy moly, there was a couple of these ordered to the table, and they were fantastic. Absolutely love this.
Yeah. It was
Loved
super
it.
duper good. Lacey absolutely loved it. I love the photos we have of her with it. Here's what we're gonna we're gonna 100% make this 2 parts, because there's no way we can get through 2 more days, plus have the girls' thoughts, plus get some of our friends' thoughts. So we're gonna go ahead and end right now, and we've still got really 2 full days that we'll discuss.
Oh.
So
you want to end on something good?
Yes, I would love to end on something good.
Well, okay, let's move on then to just the next morning.
Okay.
And
well, one thing I will recommend is filling out your little tag and putting on your door for room service in the morning.
Yes.
Get your coffees, your milks, or juices. Basically, we had each morning, they brought us a continental breakfast.
Yeah.
There would be cereals with milk. There'd be your pot of coffee, some juices. There'd be like croissant, bagels, cream cheese, some fruit, I believe, each morning. Even though you're going to go up to like Marceline Market and get breakfast,
yeah,
this was so perfect,
this
especially
nice
for the girls.
yes.
They really, really enjoyed this. But let's go ahead then and talk about going up back to breakfast in the morning.
Okay, because I was going to say, it was so funny because I told Jeremy in the very beginning of this whole cruise, and that's what everybody said. They said, you know, Rhonda, you can sleep when you get home. And I'm like, okay. And I'm a sleeper.
Yeah.
As everybody knows, I take naps and stuff. So I was like, you know what? All right, if I don't go to bed too late, and I think after dinner and stuff, like I was just about done. And I think y'all went off to another bar or something. And it was, by the time I was like 10:30, I'm like, all right, I need to go to bed a little earlier tonight, and then I'll be good the rest of the time.
Yeah.
So I did. But then the next morning I actually woke up on accident because Lacey's alarm was going off. Well, this was 6:30. And I was like, I could go back to sleep, but I was like, I could get up, and I bet nobody's up, and I could go walk the ship and just maybe take some video, take some pictures, and get a cup of coffee. So that is exactly what I did.
So proud of you.
I was like, Jeremy was still snoring, sleeping, and I snuck out of our bedroom and I walked, and it was just so peaceful, so beautiful. And at that time in the morning, you could see the Bahamas where we're getting closer and closer and going to pull into. And it was super, super cool. Had a coffee, walked around, just enjoyed.
Then I came up and met you.
You came up and met me.
I'll say, I've mentioned a lot of times, one of my favorite things to do at the Disney World resorts in the morning is get up early and go walk the resort. And it's just so peaceful, and it's so neat to watch like families kind of getting ready and maybe they're heading out to the bus and all. And I'm still going to enjoy that, but nothing beats doing that on this cruise.
Yeah, it was
like
awesome.
It is 1,000 times more peaceful and beautiful than any resort I feel like you're going to walk around.
Yep.
And yeah, so I came up, met you, and then we went to grab breakfast, which was super good. They had this little, first of all, again, you got all these stations, really good hash browns.
Those to me, those were like, I loved them, but they were like McDonald's hash browns.
Yeah.
They were so good.
Yeah, that real saltiness and
Yes.
the perfect amount of grease that is so
Yes.
bad for you. You love it.
Yes.
Bacon and sausage and eggs and, you know, all these wonderful things.
Mickey
and
waffles,
eggs
of
Benedict.
course.
Yeah,
Yep.
eggs Benedict with ham
we
and
did
all.
that.
My favorite thing was this tiny little quiche that I think had spinach and sausage in it.
Okay.
But so the interior, the inside is this little, maybe, I don't know, 3 inches across or something. Little quiche, super crispy crust, super flaky. But the crust had a little bit of a sweetness to it. Almost, I'm not going to say maple syrup, like that same type of sweetness, but without the maple flavor.
Yep.
And it was such a wonderful, sweet and savory, like breakfast treat.
Yeah.
It was honestly, it's one of my favorite things I ate.
I think you and
weekend.
Rachel loved that.
It was so
But it was.
good.
And then, of course, your kids' station where they had the Mickey waffles. And we actually found French toast, which was fantastic.
That was really good. And this was not
Really
like your
good.
run-of-the-mill,
Yeah.
take a piece of standard Wonder Bread.
Right.
This was like thick cut, like a brioche type
Yes.
bread and it was real crispy on the outside, but super like moist and tender on the inside. I know I always say, I'm always like, I'm not a dessert person. And then I love desserts. I always say I'm not a breakfast person. And then I love breakfast.
Yeah.
And this breakfast was really, really good.
They also had pog juice
Yes.
on the boat, which was super cool.
So little tip, bring those 2 bottles of champagne on board
Yeah.
because I brought one that
Yep.
morning
We
and
had
we
pog
took it to
mimosas.
breakfast. We had pog mimosas and we
Yep.
just, opened the bottle right there and just sitting on the table.
Yeah,
and,
super cool.
It was absolutely outstanding.
Then it was super funny because Lacey, not only did she already have her room service breakfast and enjoyed it, I love that she came upstairs and sat with us as well and enjoyed more breakfast, and it was awesome.
And we'll get to this when we do part 2, and the girls are going to join us and give us some of their thoughts. I went into this whole thing thinking the whole time, like, I'm so glad the kids are coming. We will never see them. I just thought they'd go off on their own. They'd be in the kids club the whole time. I was so happy with how much time they spent with us.
Yeah, me too.
And again, they can talk a little bit about the clubs and stuff because they did do that a bit. Lacey more so than Kaylin, kind of, because Kaylin's just not good at times or planning.
Goodness.
But yeah, they spent so much time with us, and that was incredible, and that meant a lot.
Yeah.
And I think they spent time with us, one, because they wanted to and they enjoyed it, but they also really enjoy our friends.
Yeah, they do.
And maybe they were spending time with us more so because they wanted to spend time with our friends. But I was just so glad they did. And there's one of those moments where to have, Lacey there with us having breakfast, especially when you had already knocked Kaylin out for a good dozen hours.
We are on Saturday now. So this is the day that she will not get up until after noon.
Yeah. All right. Let's end it here because we do still have the day where we did not get off the boat at Nassau, but we certainly did some things there. We have our Arendelle dinner that we'll talk about. We've got Sunday Castaway Key we will share. We have Palo to talk about, which I'm super excited. What our evening looked like, and then our final morning on Monday morning as we got off the ship. So we will cover all of that and more, along with some awesome special guests, including Kaylin and Lacey, and hopefully some call-ins from some of our friends that were on the ship. I've given them a deadline. I'll let them know now it's expanded past Monday.
Yeah.
So they got a little extra time to record. But thank you guys so much for listening. We are super excited to bring the rest of this to you in part 2, which will come out on Friday. And then next week, we're going to talk about this past weekend. So we have a lot of trip reviews coming up, but then we'll get back to some other cool topics and top 10 lists and all that fun stuff. So thank you so much for listening. If you want to catch some of the video that we did post that in the Patreon group, Facebook, private Wonderland Crew page. You can check out wonderlandcrew.com to check that out. Also, right now, if you go to mainstmagic.com /store, you can check out our limited edition Be Nice to Cast Member shirts. We have them in black and red. Not only does it have our Be Nice to Cast Members design on the front, but it also has the Main Street Magic logo and our website on the back. These are a super limited run, $22 basically, a little bit more for the larger sizes. That will be shipped all to you. So it takes a couple days for us to get those orders out. But go ahead and check out mainstmagic.com /store if you want to go ahead and buy those. You might as well hit that subscribe button so you don't miss these brand new shows every Tuesday and Friday. And of course, we would be so super thankful if you left us a rating and review,
because it'll help our show grow.
That's all we've got. We'll see you real soon.
Jeremy and Rhonda are more than a little fond of Disney World, so they made this podcast to share it all with you. Reports and resorts, top 10 lists of all sorts, Main Street Magic's bringing it home for you.